Vice President of the United States says that Donald Trump has done more than black people and black lives than anyone. I would assume that also includes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., everyone. Put him up full mass. Man. According to Atlanta Black Star, Vice President JD Vance, the most unknown vice president in the history of the vice presidency, is taunting the Black Lives Matter movement with a provocative post on social media after the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda signed a new treaty at the White House Friday. The Trump administration helped broker the peace deal, but questions remain about whether the agreement can help quell the decades-long violence in eastern Congo. As a militia-backed Rwanda, it's unclear whether the militias have actually agreed to end the fighting and whether the two nations can assist the U.S. government and American business in accessing critical minerals in the region, NBC News reported. Now, I'm hopeful, but because of the people in charge, I'm doubtful that there's a substantive framework here. I believe it's just like any other policy. It is for show. The first university I taught at in 2016, we had a significant population of those from both of those regions. And the issue isn't the government. The issue becomes the independent and sometimes independently funded militia groups. And those militia groups sometimes are made of former government employees, military commanders, et cetera. They will call them a warlord in that region. That is who has to agree to the peace, because those are the individuals affecting the framework of humanity in that region. So this deal doesn't sound legit, but I would give you more background. JD Vance would post in a response, the peace treaty signing yesterday between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Rwanda was truly historic. That war has killed more than any since World War II, almost all of them black. I'm sure the leaders and supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement would join me in celebrating President Trump today, who has done more to save black lives than any leader in our country. Keep JD Vance, put JD Vance's picture back up again, because JD, this is the reason why people don't believe you. This is the reason why individuals question, is the agreement authentic? Because you utilized it immediately to take a jab at black folk in America that you actually do govern, and took the moment to pivot to give praise to a white male named Donald Trump, who supports bigoted causes daily. So if your aim is to actually protect and save black lives, typically you don't do that. You don't politicize it, and you don't give credit for one human being. Don't give credit for one person. All right, so as Black Enterprise explains, the Trump-Vance administration is no fan of the Black Lives Matter movement, even prior to them taking over the White House. After labeling the troubled movement as, quote, a symbol of hate, Trump sent the National Guard to handle Floyd and Breonna Taylor protests, allegedly asking, can't you just shoot them? End quote. Now, once again, JD, if you believe they represent a symbol of hate, why are you seeking their approval in your social media posts? Why are you asking them to applaud Donald Trump if you believe they are a symbol of hate? I wouldn't ask the KKK to champion somebody that I respect under any circumstance. None. Despite having a Blacks for Trump following for his 2024 presidential campaign, Several incidents seemingly highlight that Trump and Vance haven't been the best choice of leaders for the Black community. During the campaign trail, Haitians across the country, and specifically in Springfield, Illinois, remember this? Were attacked after the incident or after the indicted politician made false claims that Haitian migrants were stealing neighborhood pets, cats, and dogs and eating them. Never really corrected the record. JD Vance kind of did. In regards to this treatment of African nations, the Trump administration signed a proclamation last June suspending travel to the U.S. for citizens from 12 countries. We talked about that just a few days ago. Afghanistan was included, Congo, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, others. Then back in April, nearly half of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention staff working on developmental disabilities and birth defects, they were laid off. Laid off this month. Multiple officials told CBS News, wiping out teams working on research about adults with cognitive disabilities and sickle cell disease. Work likely to be halted by the cuts includes the collection of data for studying Americans with sickle cell, a painful blood disorder that primarily affects Black families, as well as support testing for its more dangerous complications. We've been fighting this in the Black community for decades. Wiped out the funding. The number one employer for Black families, the federal government. You see, Donald Trump has involved himself in a systematic dismantling of not only Black economy without ever having to say the word Black, but also Black health without ever having to say the word Black. There's more. Banning the Office of Federal Contracting Compliance Programs. So it was created in 1965 when President Lyndon B. Johnson signed an executive order strengthening the provision of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that banned racial discrimination by employers. The Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs specifically enforced the law among businesses and institutions that contracted with the government or received federal funds. The landmark law also banned segregation and discrimination in all public places, including schools, libraries, restaurants, and buses. We call it public accommodation, basically. On his second day in office, Donald Trump labeled the office's efforts to enforce the 1964 Civil Rights Act illegal and discriminatory, presumably against white people. Now, some people came out, wrote commentary, op-eds. Oh, this is really not a big deal because the Constitution still bars it. Idiots. The only agency that statutorily was required to enforce it was that office. So what you have is an infraction with no enforcement. Sharon, thoughts?
Well, you're right. And it's that last part that people need to understand. You know, I'm a landlord. And if I don't put certain things in the lease, like, hey, listen, no pets. Well, what's going to happen if they do it anyway? This is simple stuff, Doc. I don't really need Trump or JD Vance's approval, president and vice president. They've shown us what their priorities are and what are not their priorities. And in JD Vance's case, it's changed over the years. It may change back. So it just, to me, it is what it is. But don't come looking at Black Lives Matter or any other group. If you're not interested, you're not interested. You know, they're not set up just at your behest. They're here for a reason and not really going anywhere. So, oh well.
Yeah. They are in charge of the country.